I'm John Arnold from The Practical Disciple, and I want to welcome you to this video about what is the gospel. Now, many of you are doing through the Bible in a year with me and might be watching it because you're part of that program. If you are, I want to both thank you for signing up, and secondly, I want to commend you for taking an action step to read through your Bible in 1 year. I'm hoping that through these kind of tips and videos and messages that I can help you be successful at that. You've got a good plan if you're using one of the plans downloaded from The Practical Disciple. You've got support now from me if you're watching this video. The only thing left is you just got to stick to it, and you got to commit and do the work. And I can't do that for you, but I can help you with tips and tools like this. Let's go ahead and get into what is a gospel. When I say gospel today, most people would think of probably Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. But the word gospel, which has its roots in a Greek word, euangelion, which means good news or glad tidings. That word was in usage before we had a Bible and before Jesus came along. That word was in usage, and it was usually used to speak about exciting news about the emperor, particularly the birth of an emperor or the ascension of an emperor onto the throne. So, if you got a document back in the early period of the Gospels were written, or prior to them, if you got a document that began the beginning of the Gospel, the beginning of glad tidings, your average person, at least particularly a Roman citizen of that time, if they had picked that up just reading those words, what they would have anticipated is some proclamation about the emperor. So it was kind of a loaded phrase to begin a gospel with. Also in the Gospel of Mark, it begins with talking about Jesus, the Son of God. And Son of God was a phrase that was commonly used around the emperor as well. So you have two pretty loaded phrases being used back to back here at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark. And it would have flagged that listening audience to be listening for a particular type of news. They would have actually been anticipating some kind of news about the emperor or a royal person. So it sets the framework of the mind of that person in a very different place probably than it does us when we hear gospel. And I want to slow that down and flag it for you so that maybe as you read through the Gospel of Mark, you have to realize that his audience, which to the best of our knowledge, he's probably writing this from Rome, and it's most likely directed at a Gentile audience, not a Jewish audience. We kind of get that based off of clues in the text itself. And very likely Roman citizens, they would have heard those words and they would have said, whoa, somebody's about to announce the birth of an emperor and important information about them. So keep that in mind as you read through the Gospel of Mark. And specifically what I want you to watch for are a couple things. One, look at the type of authority that Jesus has. Because in essence, this gospel story is announcing the King of Kings, the ruler of rulers, his birth, and what he does and what type of king he's going to be. There's a lot of stories that reveal the type of authority that Jesus has. For example, there are stories where we see Jesus having command of the wind and the waves. He has authority over the wind and the waves. And sometimes you'll even see the word authority pop up because it will talk about Jesus being a teacher, teaching with authority unlike any authority they'd seen before. So keep your eyes open to what kind of authority does Jesus have? What kind of king, what kind of emperor is he coming into this world? The other thing is Mark is a very quick-moving gospel. It's only 16 chapters long. You see the word immediately over and over and over again. It seems like Jesus is constantly on the go as a servant of God. And so watch the kind of the fast pace unfold of the story. I picked out Mark as the first gospel you read in this reading plan because the bulk of Mark is used in Matthew and a large chunk of Mark is used in Luke. So if you have a good understanding of Mark, it sets you off in a good pace for understanding Matthew and Luke very quickly, and you can watch and see how Matthew and Luke use stories that Mark tells maybe a little differently, tweak it toward their purpose, their calling by God in terms of relating Jesus' story. So there's just some things to watch for as you're reading Mark. It's a great gospel story. You're going to see Jesus performing miracles. You're going to get snippets of his teaching. A lot more teaching when we get to the Gospel of Matthew. But as I said, and I've punctuated through this whole video, keep your eyes open for what kind of king, what kind of ruler is the Gospel of Matthew presenting, because the early listening audience, that's kind of what they would have been listening for when they heard those first words, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, Son of God. So there you have it. I'm looking forward to seeing you in other videos, and I hope your Bible reading is doing well. Keep your plan handy, check it off, and track your progress. And I know that in 2011, or whenever you're starting this, that as you read through the Bible in a year, God's really going to bless your life through that reading. That word's going to come back to you in ways that you never imagined. So I'll see you in the next video.